Let's get straight to the point. Some of my best videos cover controversial topics. There's no controversial topic like interracial dating. And of course, good brothers like myself, the Afro Think Tank, and brothers like George Macon, we are a part of the pro-black community, and in a larger part, some of us, the Pan-African community. I'm even living in Africa right now. So when I talk about sticking together as a people, loving yourself, being with black women or black men, I totally embody that. However, what I have noticed is that the concerns of black men are constantly ignored. And whenever a black man makes a decision to something different, it's all because he's a sellout, or he's weak, or he's whack, but his concerns or needs are not being met. Now, I do want to say, yes, black men can do a lot better and have ownership. Yes, black men can do things and empower their community and compete for certain things and resources and things that build their community. I completely get that. But at the same time, they do have to be inspired by a group of women to want to do that. And that's the problem with interracial dating. As much as I'm a pro-black, as much as I'm a Pan-African brother, you have to have incentives for anything to work, including black dating in America or abroad. Now that brings us to the discussion of this video, where Dr. Umar Johnson again was inboxed this particular message. Dating music! Good evening, Dr. Umar. I was wondering if you were able to answer a question of mine. I am a mixed African American, and my father, black American, only dates, Snow. We will blur out the other word, right? Because it's a disparaging term. Only dates, let's just say, white women. I was considering if this is some kind of mental illness or psychology behind this. Thank you. Definitely mental illness family. Now, if you see, it has almost, at this time of the post, 8,776 likes. Now, for a black man to only want to date white women, the question is it a mental illness? Well, looking at it from the vantage point of somebody who just dates black women, I know that there's good black women out there, and there are black women out there who are maybe not as good. But however, has anybody asked this guy why he dates only white women? See, that's the problem in the black world. We want to talk down to black men and force black men into their decisions, which is why we don't get a lot of participation from black men in America, because simply we have not asked them. We have not asked them. And the reason why we haven't asked them is because it doesn't matter. That's the answer. When black men have a concern, it doesn't matter. Do what you were told, and if you do something different, you have a mental illness. Because, it's like all sisters are perfect and they are ready for marriage, right? But now, I'm going to play a clip from a brother, Brandon Tatum. I'm very familiar with him. He's a good brother, right? He has some controversial views different from mine, very much so. I've called him out in a few videos, but he's a nice guy overall. I think this clip, because he's married to a non-black woman, he's coming from the African American community just like all of us. Why do black men date white women? I think this might sum up some of the things.
Black men choose white women. In my opinion, based on my experience and the people that I know, because I know a whole bunch of brothers that marry white women, 99.99% of the time it's because of culture. I think people get caught up in their emotions and get caught up in rhetoric and think it's about race. No, it's more so about availability to certain women and culture. Normally when you see men who make it in the NFL, NBA, and they go marry white women and people perceive, oh, that person's a sellout or whatever the case may be. No, it's because that person has now been interjected into a different culture. And I said this in my last video about family, marriage. when you look at the statistical data, you see that 70+% of black households, children are born out of wedlock. I grew up with my parents not together. And so when you are involved in a culture that may be more appreciative of the family structure, or for whatever reason, the family structure is more intact, and you get to a point where you're outside of your childhood, outside of where you grew up at, and now you perceive that I want this family, I want this type of environment, then you go for the people that are doing that. People that more than likely their parents are together, or they have a structural environment that you feel like is conducive for what you want in the future. People that are less argumentative, people that are more agreeable with you, people that may agree with you politically, people that may understand financial success, and you may want to attain that relationship with them.
So you heard what he had to say. Look at the culture of these women. That's what Brandon Tatum is talking about. He's not talking about the fact that they are more beautiful, or that black women are not attractive, or black women are ugly. He's not saying any of those things. He's talking about certain behaviors. He's talking about a certain treatment. He's talking about being able to compare what he was getting in the black community comparisons to what he was getting in the white community. And if we want to be honest, many of us work and do business outside of black America because we feel like we get better treatment. Let's just be real. Now, that might not be a good enough excuse for somebody who's hardcore like Dr. Umar. It might not be a good excuse for even somebody like myself. But not everybody is Dr. Umar. Not everybody is me. Not everybody is Brother George Macon or Omawale Africa. The thing is, there are a lot of black men who are saying things like this. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, if you black men had more, ownership in masculinity, you would have more stuff. That's true. It's definitely true. Would that change the culture of women? Yes. Right? But now what you're talking about is that takes time. And a lot of women, if we want to be fair, a lot of women don't want to have the patience with black men. They're looking for a guy who already has it together. They're looking for a guy who's already ready to compete. And if we're going to be real, sisters are not, turning down somebody who's white or somebody who's Asian if they're coming to the table with something. They say they are, but if they have those opportunities, they're going to take them. The problem is that the black man can capitalize on these opportunities. And now the black man is saying, hey, look, you want us to have everything and then wait on you while you develop, which is what women want. Women want black men to develop and become the best versions of themselves, while the black man is taking them as they are, accepting them as they are in whatever state that they're in. All right. Now, some brothers can deal with that. Many brothers cannot. Just like black women, if you don't have your stuff together, they're looking for the best suitor. Now that black men are doing that, we're calling it a mental illness instead of trying to become a better product for a black man to select from. And I understand that you have racism, and I understand we have things that are not bringing black women and black men together to solve our problems. We do have external forces, but everybody's not going to understand that. And see, what happens in that particular situation is you're going to have black men exercise the ability to say, you know what, I've dealt with this a lot. Black women are beautiful, but culturally as a woman, after being exposed to other groups of ladies from different areas, I feel like I'm more apt to deal with this. And every black man's not going to want to, get with the black woman and struggle for the people, which is what, as pro-blacks, we want everybody to do. We want everybody to come in and struggle for the people and struggle for the next generation like others before us did. Most guys don't want to do that, if we want to be honest. There are select few guys who will do it, but most guys are not going to do that. And a lot of black men are looking for black women who want to compete today. And that becomes a problem for many people out there in black America. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.